Just doing a little video to talk you through a level 5 GCSE coursework. So I'm going to flick through this book to show you what it might look like. So we've got theme of food and drink here, so it's a mind map, and in there you've got like lots of possible subjects around the main theme and some classifying. And then here we've got quite a simple start with tonal drawing of a hamburger, I presume, and accompanying tonal drawing scales, a bit of technique there. And this is, oh, it's macaron, I beg your pardon. And just using pencil. And then there you've got a little bit of annotation. I suppose, you know, to even better if you have got that blank space there. So if possible, avoid that, I would say. Over here, though, there's a lovely drawing. Pen and wash. Is that a chocolate bar? I think so. Yeah, we can see that there in the annotation. So the moderator will not necessarily read everything if you write too much. If you write it to the point, they probably will read most of it. So here we've got a bit of a reflection there, talking about the most successful part, how it makes texture, the student thinks. So I suppose down there, down there, and then just some samples up the top there. So it's a sketchbook. It's meant to have the kind of experiments. It's meant to have failure in it, things that have gone wrong. That probably should stick down. That here, moving on to sort of photo collage or montage around the theme, and then here into some colour acrylic paint experimentation. So there we've got that sort of gradation, gradually merging, and experiment with different sort of mark making styles. So there you've got that annotation in there to show that the student is reflecting upon what's worked well and even better if, and trying to use some technical terminology that we might have learned. I mean, this is quite unusual, experimenting with egg tempera. So that's quite an old-fashioned technique there. So that's of interest. And here, there's like the sort of process beneath there. Oh, so presentation seems to kind of up a gear here on this kind of artist research page. So here we've got the name of the artist. And so what I'm looking for, if I'm moderating this, I'm looking to think, okay, so here we've got reproductions. This one here is like what I would call a transcription, because it is the student's own work. So this is of more value than that, because that is just a photocopy. Here there's a nice little tine adding a bit more annotation. So with a spiral bound, that's quite useful. But yeah, presentation is more exciting on this page. Another artist research page here. So my attention is going straight to that one, because this one is that a watercolor? Could be a bit of acrylic as well. So that's the most valuable part of this page. Oh, and we've got a second one there, plus that. So if I pan out to show you the transcriptions there and there are the most valuable things. These are just reproductions. So they look nice, but I can't really give many marks for these. But here we're looking at of more value here. So composition. So the students kind of applying words to their observations of how the artist creates their own images in terms of the layout, saying, you know, the pieces remind me of the, what does it say, of the sweetness of the food. So here you're getting that sense that the student's getting their own personal reflection, which is the most valuable thing here. So this isn't as valuable because this bit over here, because it's just a bit of biography. So you can just get that on Wikipedia. So that's really quite easy to do, isn't it? But here it gets a bit more meaningful because it's about the student's own interpretation, which we love to see. Here we've got, by the looks of it, a photo shoot. So the students' own photographs of food that they had sort of set up in a sort of, I suppose, sort of studio-like setting, with thinking about the lighting, so different subjects. So quite a nice layout of that. I suppose what I might suggest to get this, so this is coming out at level 5, to get that a bit higher, I would say we'll take more photographs, because if you've got the subject, why aren't you taking 30 from different angles, from close up, further away? Change the lighting, change the background colour. So, you know, always think, well, how can I get as many photographs as possible without it getting boring of a subject when I have it in front of me? Okay, so looks like we're probably that way. That's that macaron, isn't it? I think you call it. Returning to that subject with the inks. So it was done in pencil, I think, a bit earlier, but then the student had tried with ink. So then they've gone back to a subject, revisiting, but in a different technique. Here again, you know, kind of like, this is kind of like low risk stuff, really, because it's just a sketchbook page. It's meant to have experiments. It's meant to have things go right, go wrong. You know, something you might think had gone wrong another time, actually, you reflect on it and go, oh, that's quite interesting what's happening there. The way that the ink has bled into wetted paper. Some beautiful things happening there. And here we got... annotation. Oh, sorry, it's a donut. There's me. I got it wrong. That one's meant to be a donut. So here it does tell me. Painted in ink. To improve my work at the bottom there. So my eye is going towards that, because I'm always looking as the student, as an artist, how are they thinking about what they would do if they were going to do it again? How would they do it better? So here, this is an eclair, isn't it? I should read the annotation first just to double check. So I'll just turn that around that way. So on black paper, chalk, a bit of charcoal as well, I think. So quite nice scale of drawing. Again, I might just say, you know, this student probably has had to think about the charcoal going onto the other page. But you'd use hairspray to hold that, actually. And here, actually, so having talked about that, I recognise this from one of the photos that the student had taken. And so this looks like it's done in chalk pastels. Yeah, they've said that there. Next time, add highlights to the jam. Yep, totally agree with that. Nice piece, but yeah, I think they've correctly identified what they would do to enhance that piece if they're doing it again. So here, what we're on to, so some experimental drawing techniques. So things like this one's called continuous line, so not taking the pencil off the page. This one over here, opposite hand drawing. So I'm not sure whether this student is left or right-handed, but they would have used the other hand to do that. This one is called blind drawing, so not being allowed to look at the drawing as you do it. And here, looking at the space around the subject. So the negative space one, it looks like here, you might recognise that silhouette. So I guess they thought they would want to experiment further with the negative space drawing. And here, saying about most successful, least favourite drawings, things like that. So reflection, and that's present, you know, quite consistently in this book. So what we got here, initial ideas here. So working with this idea of the slice of cake. So I can't remember the artist's name. I'd have to look back in the book, actually, who that was. Oh no, it says Ron Magnus style, and I can't really read that, on Marwin style. So kind of referencing both artists. So it's important that you show that you've been looking at other artists. Here I can see famous name there, Picasso style. So thinking about how can I work out where my work links in with art that's already been made. Here, working with different mediums with the same subject. So this is really clear for, I haven't talked about the assessment objectives yet, but on this page here, this is very much about assessment objective 2, because you are experimenting with materials. So here we've got 3 different materials used, and we can compare and contrast watercolour with pastels, and then the kind of tonal piece in watercolour. So monochrome versus colourful. And let's see where this goes then. What's next? Page stuff together. Is it? Yes. Oh, I don't know if that's meant to happen. This always frustrates me. I'd rather see what was in there, to be honest, but I kind of think they're trying to stop us from looking in there. Don't know. It does look really stuck. Not a fan of that. I wouldn't do that because I'd rather see what was in there. We should be able to see that, but I don't want to tear it. The person that will mark this, they would want to see that. They won't know you at all because they are basically someone that's been an art teacher or is an art teacher in another school. They would have never met you. That's the whole point, that they're meant to be impartial. So here we've got watercolour, so and some annotation to describe it. So it's linking it in with an artist and talking about using shadows, bold lines to the cone to make different tones. So there's some use of the formal elements as keywords there. And then over here, I would say it's a bit sparse, this page. So I'm not like wanting to spend ages looking at it. You know, there's bits like the texture here achieved. I'm enjoying looking at that, but not really this big massive gap, to be honest. And here this idea, I suppose, of dividing the cone in half in watercolour on the left and pastels on the right. Here, so getting some photographs. So this is the student's own photographs. Yes. Asked my sister to hold the cone for the pictures. So I'm looking for reassurance that it's the student's own photographs. However, there's only 2 photos there. I'm wondering, are there more in there? There are a few more, but is it the same photo? What I would say to make that really obvious is that, and this is assessment objective 3, which is recording, that why wouldn't you have taken 20 photographs, and why are we not seeing little images that we can almost see what's called like a little photo shoot? That would be more reassuring to us, the viewer, to know that, be really confident this student has experimented with different angles, close-ups further away, the lighting changing. You know, has that much happened here? Marks are being missed out here that could have been quite easily added onto here. But there's a lovely pencil drawing here, very carefully done. So we got a grid. So I'm imagining, I'm hoping that there is, I don't know whether we've got it. There should really be the drawing that might have a grid over it. Sorry, the photograph that had a grid on it. I would really hope to see that in here somewhere, because it's all about the process. So here, using the grid to help draw, so recounting what happened, to incorporate Ron Maguire's style, using bold outlines. So I suppose in the sense of the hand, there was that sort of pop artist that that was on that sort of first really well presented page. So that photo again, what's under here? If you're doing flaps, now what I would say, I would disagree with this, because why are you putting a photograph over that lovely pencil drawing, colour pencil drawing? That texture's there's gorgeous, and it's been hidden. This, why is that not being made smaller, stuck there? Imagine that stuck there, and that one there, how much better this page would look than having that. That's what I think anyway, and I think most moderators probably would feel that. And although we're not meant to specifically mark presentation, you run the danger of that not being considered enough. But this is lovely. So if we look at that, that's fabulous. So some really quite, quite confident use of materials there. Okay, there's moments where there is quite a bit of confidence. Empty page. Oh, right. So that's a new project, isn't it? So here, this one. Now it is the same size as the book, which is not always a good thing because this is a final outcome. So here, so really, lovely drawing that. But maybe a bit safe, but beautifully drawn, nice tonal range, but maybe it could have been drawn larger. So I suppose, this might be why it's a level 5, that it's not going higher, because is it a bit safe? Anyway, let's move on. Distortion in human form is another theme that's being visited here. So good start to that. So, I'm interested straight off. The pages are busy. What have we got here? So there's some burning of an image here. And here's some artists that the student has found themselves. I'm sort of questioning, has the student done this? I'm not sure, because I'm seeing it 3 times. Bit confused. So, this is why you've got to be so clear. I'm not sure about that one. So here's let's see. So I'm trying to work out, is this an artist's study? Is it just an image that's been found? So I'm having to kind of waste time here because it's not labelled clearly. So let's see. So here we're saying sketching parts of the face. You've got to be so clear. So here this is like recording. So in terms of the drawing of the facial features, and the annotation is part of recording as well. I should really talk about AO1, because here, as in the last project where that sort of pop artist was used, there was 2 artists that were referenced in the previous project. Here we've got examples of art that other artists have done. I've got no names here, and actually I've just recognised that image is the one that's repeated there. I would say why. Okay, because it's a bit confusing to do that. Okay, so here we've got the artwork that the student is clearly interested in, and here they've done a tonal drawing, transcription, this would be known as. So this is AO3, record. This is AO1 because it's visually analysing the artist's work, and here we've got a bit of analysis, reflection of how it's gone. I'm kind of looking to see if there's any kind of symbolic interpretation that the student is making. So it's talking, I'm looking to try and see where you get marks, you see. It's kind of talking about how it was made, and then saying overall I'm happy. So I think really, well, I know there's kind of missed opportunities here because of the way that we're seeing these eyes layered over. I want to know why the student's interested in this, and they're not telling me. Lovely transcription though. We got another page. See, it's that one is stuck. Yeah, another one stuck together. Not a fan of that. Okay, so here we've got a second artist. Is it Agnes Cecile? So I don't know this artist. So a student's choice here. Could have been in discussion with a teacher. So here, these aren't transcriptions here. These are printouts. This is a transcription. So based on that one. So this is good because that's smaller than the transcription. What I would say is there a bit too much just photocopies being stuck in there? But a lovely presentation. So here we've got the annotation that's kind of fitted in rather lovely the way that's been done. So makes her art very chromatic. Okay. Very toned and meaningful. Reminds me of expressions such as grief or love. So this is good because it's kind of taking us beneath the surface, and that's what we're looking for. Here, this little luggage thing, I like that idea. So what I suppose they want to use watercolour in the final piece. Okay. Bit about the process, how it was done. Okay. So there's kind of an element of looking at what the symbolism of the work might mean. So that's always more exciting when that happens. Lovely layout of a page here. That's good to look at, isn't it? Here we've got the photocopies. Here, another bit of the work. This little one here is a drawing, and that one. So those should be the most prominent pieces on this page. I'd say a little bit small. Lovely, but too small. Okay. Title, nice, but don't ever spend too long on a title, because it's not really, because if we only marking it for presentation, that doesn't really fit into one of the 4 assessment objectives. So think about that. Am I spending too much time on doing a rather neat title when actually my transcriptions, because these are just the eyes, and it's kind of missing the fact that this art is very much about these sort of circles that are cut out. It's like, I'd like to see the student kind of responding to that a bit more, or these kind of drips and, you know, the kind of combination with collage. So probably a missed opportunity there, but let's see. Blank page, please don't do that. Here, so it looks like there's an image that's been found off the internet. Can I see who did it? Their painting. Not sure. But then what they've done is they've kind of pencil drawn over some sections. So it's a transcription of sorts. Okay, nicely drawn. But maybe you're missing the thing of actually the artist is using unusual colours. So why are you making it monochrome? Because these colours are quite unusual, aren't they? Ah, right, okay. So here we've got a nice response. It's very subtle, that. Quite ghostly, in watercolour. So the student's actually carrying out what they were really wanting to work on watercolour. Good. And saying what you would do if you were going to do this again. This is better. So here we've got a response to that second artist with those circles. So that's lovely. So I'm wondering what the reference is. What image is it? Did we see it in that artist before? I'm having to go back and check. I don't see it. So I'm wondering and questioning where that image came from. I'm thinking, did the student do their own photo shoot? I'm not sure. Because you could write it and say it, but unless we've got the evidence there, the actual photo shoot. This photo was slightly inspired by one of Agnes Cecile's pieces. All right. Not being really clear there, so that's a problem. And if you aren't confident, the viewer isn't confident where things are coming from, you're missing out on marks, even if you did it, because maybe there's a photo shoot that was never printed in here. Okay, so some experiments here, initial ideas. Is this towards the final piece? Okay, good, right, so I see there's a photo in here. Great. Sort of fisheye, is it called? I think so, isn't it? Are they going to say that? Something like that. It's that sort of effect. Fisheye lens to distort the perspective. And here what you want to do with it. Then over here it's been sort of a copy of it from the student's own photograph in 4 different sections. The pen and wash, pencil, watercolour, cross hatching. So final piece. Okay, right. This is good because we've got more photographs, and here looking in, picking sections of it. So this is getting more interesting, this, because you're kind of showing that the photos are becoming material for the drawings that are happening down here. So that's lovely. Good tonal range. Now, that's the it in that book for the first book. So I'm going to just pause that one. I've got another. This is the final piece. I had it in the next book, so I've recognised where it's from. So from this, another A3 piece, beautifully drawn, really kind of fascinating image. You know, I really want to look at that. There's a lot to try and decipher, and it's kind of like it just suggests things. It's not really that obvious. I might, you know, that could be a little criticism. Have you avoided the face? Because we have got it here. Is there a bit of avoidance there? But overall, there's a kind of intriguing mood to this. And I'm wondering how much, is there any reflection on this? Not sure. I can't see any of it. But that's the outcome for that project. Right, that's it for the first sketchbook in coursework for this student, which got a 5. Okay, here's the second sketchbook for this student on mark making. So a mind map, familiar pattern here of the theme, and then sort of branches off of that, and then zooming into, they are single words. I can see an artist name there. I recognise. There might be loads of others that I've never heard of. Maybe, you know, try and upgrade this into a few sentences would be rather helpful. Okay, so interesting range of artists that could be used for inspiration here. So I think on this page, it's all reproductions, but it looks like there's something quite interesting happening on in the background. I can see some monoprinting there and things like that, and some collage. Talking of monoprint, here we go. So I don't know what the reference image was from, but here we've got an example of monoprint. So nice the way that it's printed onto the grey with the torn bit of white paper on top, so a bit of layering. And here I think that's tissue paper, that. So some lovely results early on. And here, these are drawn on separate paper, these joker cards, biro, pencil, and biro again, but sort of a bit more cross-hatched. So observational drawing, yeah, interesting that. Is it really observational drawing? Because it's on the joke pat. It's a flat card, and I would argue that that's playing it safe a little bit, really. You want to pick something that's 3-dimensional. Something like a shoe is a brilliant thing to draw because it's so 3D and they're lovely to draw. So I would encourage you to pick something that's got 3-dimensionality to it, because drawing from a flat image, so an illustration, is that really observational drawing. If you drew in a pack of cards, or in a hand or something, or them being dealt out, that would be much better subject. Let's see if they do. Oh, well, there you go. I'll take it back. There's a hand here. So is that from direct observation? I'm wishing it is. So here's an artist. Okay, right. So here's examples of the artist's work. And then here, I don't know why there's a post-it note. That shouldn't be on there. I'll take that off. Here is a lovely, is it pen and ink drawing, of a hand. Is it direct? I'm hoping so. I'm guessing it is. My friend's hand, good. So I'm being reassured here. So from direct observation, not from a photograph. That is the most valuable way of drawing. Okay, without doubt, you'll get the highest marks if you're not just relying on working from an existing photo. Nice. That's possibly a transcription. I think that is. Now, what I would probably say is that because this hand's drawn flat, that's a bit easier. So I am picking up on maybe the student needs to go more out of their comfort zones because they'll get a higher grade. I like that. That's nice. To do more three-dimensional work, okay? Or, sorry, do more drawing from three-dimensional. So here we got Henry Moore, lovely stuff. So here we got, these are just photocopies of Henry Moore's drawings. I recognise them, and that one. And here, good. We're focusing it, we're featuring a transcription as the biggest thing. It could be even bigger, if I'm quite honest, but that's the balance is okay there. And then justifying why Henry Moore's being looked at here and how it connects to the theme. Mark making. So here we go. Let's look a bit further. So this is the second mind map, is it? Did they? I'm getting confused. Yes, they decided to do it again. Why did they do that? I wonder. So for initial ideas, okay, I see. So initial ideas to working towards what might be final outcomes. So here is this no flashlight. So this is the student's own photograph and with flash. Okay, it's a bit of drawings based upon that. Nice that they've swapped it around from the black line into white, so on black paper. And here they've gone the kind of more expected way round, isn't it? With black on white paper and white ink on black paper. Okay, so nice presentation. So they've thought about that, good layout. Kind of there's a logic to that, isn't there? There's a balance to that one, which is nice to see. Oh, some lovely effects here. So here, these kind of unusual sort of spirally, squiggly, got a lovely sort of softness about it. And this looks quite exciting, this experimenting over here. Even like incorporating where almost like that could have just been a happy accident. And this bit, I think we've seen clips with, I've watched students do this before with putting it around a bit of string and then pulling it. So, you know, like you applying, you know, things that you've seen and that you've liked and incorporating creatively. So presentation on that strong, like that, good. You know, it's busy. If we compare to what was happening at the beginning of the year 10, that first sketchbook, that has a more confidence about it. And then here we got final piece, the idea here. So it's saying, so I'm sort of getting concerned about, okay, so it's linking to Igor Lukyanov and Henry Moore. So it's saying about how it's going to be made, recreated as well. Okay. So include random line scribbles on areas outside of the main focal point. Okay, so there's sort of that hint just outside of the drawing. So that's nice. It places it. And then I've got the final piece here. Okay, so scaled up a bit. I'm wishing the student had done it bigger, or because it's A3 again, it literally could be a sketchbook page. Beautiful techniques, lovely drawing style. I love this mark making. Look at that, gorgeous. So this is a level 5 of the coursework. So all the bases. Assessment objective 1 has been covered with, what have we seen? Have we seen, I think, 6 artists, at least 6 artists, because there's been 3 projects, 2 for each. We have had some photo shoots. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. That's AO3. AO2, we've had experimentation. Now, I would say that this student really probably should have been a bit more experimental. They've probably played it a bit safe because it is very drawing based, which we love, but and they did go into watercolour as well. Why is there not a bit more, a bit more experimental? Let's take more risks because you get awarded for it and you get more marks. So that's AO2. AO3, which is the record. So there are the photo shoots. So that's happened in every project. There is potentially, I'm not totally sure, some from direct observation. But what I would say is there's missed opportunities because it was fairly flat. Where's this, really taking risks and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone? If you do that, you will get rewarded. Not all the time, but you need to push yourself every so often so that you're not just constantly in a comfort zone. But some lovely work here that you would be proud of if you had done it. So we'll get back to you with more examples. This is a level 5 example.